Welcome to Mormon Book Reviews, where an evangelical encounters the restoration. I'm your host, Stephen Pynakker, and this is a special. I usually do Tuesday tangents every now and then, so it's going to be a special Tuesday tangent on a Thursday. And the reason why we're doing this is actually originally there's quite a few cool things I want to talk about involving Mitt Romney, Richard Bushman, flying out to Utah next week, lining up a ton of guests. I'm really, really excited. It's really an awesome opportunity that I have to get out to Utah for almost next to nothing. There have been some generous people who are helping me with both the flights as well as a place to stay. I'm actually staying in a condo in downtown Salt Lake City for the whole week. I'll be there. And I'll even have a car. That's the first time I'll be able to drive in Utah. Usually Uber or people volunteer. So I'm really grateful to everybody. So let me get started here and just tell you all the exciting news that's happening here. And the reason I'm releasing this episode early is actually there's a timeliness factor. I've been contacted by the Mormon History Association. We originally were supposed to do something last week, but Thanksgiving holiday got in the way. I was going to have somebody come on to talk about this new program that the Mormon History Association is doing. And actually, the reason why I'm doing it now is because it actually involves a special appearance by Richard Bushman on a new speaking series that's just launched, and I'm going to share it here on the screen. It's called Latter-day Saint History. It's brought to you by the Mormon History Association, and you need to register. And you need to register today because tonight at 7 o'clock Mountain Time is going to be an event from 7 to 8:30 p.m., Latter-day Histories lecture with Richard Bushman and interview by Chris Wright, Do the Gold Plates Matter? So Richard Bushman will be tonight's on November 30th, Thursday, November 30th, will be the speaker. Of course, you all know Richard's already been on my program and twice now. And I'm very excited to announce this new program. It's a 3-part lecture series that features the latest research in Mormon history from award-winning members of our community. Our goal is to provide globally accessible content to MHM members and the general public. Everyone is welcome. And so you'll have a lecture, a presentation, interview, and this is the inaugural one, which happens today. So you need to get registered. I'm going to have a link in the description to the Mormon History Association site. I just want to tell you, part of this reason I'm announcing this is that actually I have like a kind of an informal relationship with the Mormon History Association where I will actually post things on there, on my channel that from Mormon History Association, and which I think is really cool. So link in the description. And I told them, I talked to the Mormon people at the MHA and told them, I said, listen, part of the purpose of my channel is to take Mormon history and scholarship and make it accessible to a lay audience. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to scroll down here because then you got another one on Thursday, January 25th, Latter-day Histories lecture with Elisa Pulido, an interview by Amanda Hendricks Komodo. And then on the Thursday, 28th, lecture with Christopher Blythe and an interview by Janice Johnson. Now, Christopher, he's my homeboy right there. He's been on the show. Matthew Bowman will be coming on at some point. And of course, I want to show this picture. This is the photo that was taken at this year's Mormon History Association in Rochester, New York. This is the opportunity for me to get out to Palmyra. And I see a lot of familiar faces in that crowd. Now, I have you know, I was sitting over here. I'm cut off. I was sitting more there. I was like in the corner. That's me in the corner right over there that you don't see, but that's fine. But you can see this wonderful group of people. There's so many familiar faces when I hear this. And, I want to tell everybody, it's open to everybody. Join the Mormon History Association. Become a presenter, submit papers. They really love to make Mormon history and scholarship accessible to a larger audience. So that's what we got going there. And I'm going to go and do some screen share because I'm going to give you some information about a meetup we're going to be planning next week in Utah as well. But before we get there, I want to let everybody know that in addition, of course, we've had Richard Bushman on to talk about his latest book about the gold plates. I want to let everybody know that I'm going to have both Richard and Claudia Bushman on my program, probably sometime later this month, to talk about their legacies. And one of the cool things is when I was doing research, I was able to check out of the Sarasota Public Library this book, Mormon Lives, A Year in the Elkton Ward. And what struck me was, I showed this, caught me off guard because I'm literally going through this book, and I look and I see, it said, that guy sure looks like Richard Bushman by that wood chipper or whatever that is, or loading logs. I didn't think anything about it because I thought, you don't picture Richard Bushman like, doing logs, right? And then I was about ready to leave the library, and I realized, I got to go look at that book again. This is actually Richard Bushman. This is when he was the bishop of the ward. and Claudia was involved, and they talk about their sending their son off on a mission. I found this little gem, and surprised Richard that I came across this. And keep this a secret, because when I have Richard, and Richard knows about this, but I told Richard, don't tell Claudia that I got this book, because I want to surprise her, because it talks about this really interesting thing that happened while he was bishop. And the book name of the book is Mormon Lives: A Year in the Elkton War. This came out in the early 90s. A real gem book that you should probably check out. So the Bushmans will be coming back on. This will be the first time they're going to have Claudia on. And I'm really excited, because what we're going to do is talk about the legacy of the Bushmans, kind of an introspective. I tell people, say, they're in their 90s. It's really important that we get these conversations taped, and I want to preview some other interviews I'll be doing in Utah, but I want to preview my next interview. This is really exciting. So Simon and Schuster reached out to me when I had just basically made a little comment about my channel on an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And the publicist for Simon & Schuster said, hey, we want to come on your program. And so they overnight, Simon & Schuster, probably, I think, the largest book publisher in the world, overnighted this to me. They wanted to get this book in my hands right away. So I'm going to read it this weekend. Why? Because I'm going to be interviewing McKay Coppins, who many of you know, he's written for The Atlantic, and he's a well-regarded writer. And I'll tell you, I started reading this, and it's really, really well written. I can just tell it's a good book. So this Tuesday, I've already scheduled to be interviewing McKay Coppins. And you have to tell you, folks, this is a bit of a coup. There's a lot of people who've been trying to book him, and very fortuitously, I was able to be the one to book him in the Mormon podcasting circuit world, which is really exciting. And really, it's amazing. I was just telling my neighbor earlier this morning, I said, it's really remarkable when I'm just this guy who lives with his mom in a 50-year-old mobile home, drives a 15-year-old car, has 2.5 pairs of jeans to his name, buys all his t-shirts at thrift stores, or goes and gets them from John Whitmer Historical Association. Actually, they give this one for free. By the way, I'm a member of JWHA as well. That's another great historical organization to belong to. I actually gave a presentation there last September in Fredericksburg, Texas, the first time I've ever given a presentation to a historical conference. So really cool. So it's a real honor and privilege to be able to have somebody who had access to Mitt Romney and to his journals, and wrote a very, very important book during this period of time. Mitt Romney is probably one of the most prominent, most important Latter-day Saints in the history of the church. And he's had a remarkable life. And whether you like him politically or don't, you have to acknowledge that he's had a very impactful political career. And certainly a lot of people's views of Mormonism have been shaped by the Romney legacy, both him and his father and his family. And this is going to be, I'm really looking forward to reading this book and interviewing McKay this Tuesday. And my plan is to release that episode on Thursday, December 7th. Okay, so that's the game plan right now. So it's Romney: A Reckoning is the name of the book. You can get this at any of your major bookstores, as well as on Amazon as well. So this is the other thing I wanted to talk about, is we're going to have a meetup. Before we get started on the new information on the meetup, I want to say this past Monday, we had a meetup here at my local place that I hang out at, Wolf's Head. And they have pizza and wings, and we had a nice turnout of people. We had 4 people come out from the Tampa area. So there's some people drove like an hour or more to get to this to this meetup. And we had Rebecca Biblioteca, my co-host, and her co-host, Landon, for their Mormonish podcast, and Rebecca's wonderful husband. And we had just a great turnout. The missionaries were there, and we had sat at this table, and we had a blast. And I'm looking forward, every time I do a meetup in Utah, we usually get a couple dozen people, usually about 25, 30 people come out. And I want to announce that we are going to be doing another meetup, and I might do more, but let me give you the information now for the meetup. So the meetup is going to be at the Crown Burger location near Temple Square. And right now, it looks like there shouldn't be any conflicts in our schedule. So it's going to be a week from today. On Thursday, the December 7th, from approximately 6:30 to 8:30, we will be having a meetup. And I'll tell you, folks, I love Crown Burgers. That pastrami, oh my goodness, it's awesome. So this is the information for this particular location. Come and see me at Crown Burgers in downtown, just off of Temple Square. I really enjoy it when I get to meet you guys. You know, it's really exciting. I always look forward to meeting people. Now I get emails, I get letters, I get postcards or Christmas cards, I get phone calls, but there's something about meeting people face to face that just is so exciting to me. And it's a real honor and privilege to meet you. I remember I was at Sunstone earlier this year, and some people came to me and said, "What is the most important thing you've done with your channel?" And I said, "This conversation right here, right now in this hallway is the most important part of this channel." In other words, it's me being able to meet you and to hear your stories and to get to know you and talk with you. And I really love, I mean, to me, I'm always stunned at the amount of people that come out, and it often is a who's who of remarkable people. And so if you want to meet some really awesome people, and just this dude that lives in a 50-year-old mobile home in Florida, you know, I just want to say that it's real humbling. It's really humbling to have people get excited to meet me, and I get excited meeting other people, and people say, like, you are exactly like how you are on camera, you know, and I'm like, yeah, just try to be my authentic self wherever I'm at, you know, and that really means a lot to me. And so I also just want to let you know that, you know, I'm open to doing other meetups now. You know, a lot of I'm pretty centrally located. I usually do them in the Salt Lake area. Last year I did an impromptu one in Provo the night before I announced it, and then that next day 12 people showed up at a place in Provo. So I'm open to maybe doing I mean, I wouldn't personally, I would love to get to St. George. I'd love to get out to Logan and do a meetup, you know. So for those of you who are like in northern Utah or who are in southern Utah, let me know if there's interest in doing a meetup. Because if there's enough people that want to get together and hang with me, you know, let's see about doing something in St. George or Logan or somewhere nearby. I'm open to doing that. I really am. I think that'd be kind of cool. I'd probably have somebody drive me because I'm not really good at driving in the mountains. But we could figure something out. So let me know if there's people in southern Utah, northern Utah that would love to do a meetup. I wanted to share, you know, often people give me gifts, give me just there's things to show their appreciation for me. At my last meetup, Emily, she gave me this pendant, and it's called Through Thick and Thin, and it's two pieces, a thin piece and a thick piece. And it says, the best kind of people are the ones that come into your life and make you see sunshine where you once saw clouds. The people who believe in you so much, you begin to believe in yourself too. The people who love you no matter what, through thick and thin, the once in a lifetime people. Wow. I just read that. Wow. Okay. I mean, I've read it before. It didn't really sink in. And that really means a lot to me. You know, somebody took the time to get this and tell me how much they appreciate. And I want to thank Emily for showing up to the meetup this past Monday and sharing me with my very first Christmas gift of the year. And honestly, it's going to be an early Christmas for me. So I'm going to be in Utah from December 6th through to the 13th. Okay. So for those of you who want to maybe look at doing other meetups, those are the dates I'll be there. I'll be getting in Wednesday afternoon. I've already got a ride. The person whose condo I'm staying at has said, hey, I'll pick you up. So that's cool. I might need a ride back to the airport, and I'm flying into Provo, just so you know, flying into Provo. So I might need a ride back on the 13th, but don't worry about scheduling that yet because there's still plenty of time. And so I'll be there from 6th through the 13th. And I'm actually there for a very special reason. And I'm not going to announce that yet. I'm going to do a Tuesday tangent next week announcing why I am going to Utah. But in the meantime, I want to let you know, folks, that I've been on my phone the last couple of days, and I'm lining up a who's who of guests, like big names. And I'm going to be using some friends' studios, or they're providing the studios. I'm really excited. So we're going to do hopefully a bunch of one-on-one interviews. I'm also hoping to get on a few podcasts while I'm out there as well. So I'm going to try to really produce a lot of stuff for the audience. I know you're going to love and appreciate it. And you're going to be shocked at some of the people that are lining up to talk, and some of the programs that I hopefully will be able to get on as well. It's really amazing. So just remember, get registered. Let's do this share screen one more time, folks. Okay, hold on. Let me get this share screen thingy here. Okay, so this is the deal. All right. First thing is Crown Burgers. Crown Burgers is going to be on December 7th, 6:30 to 8:30. Then don't forget about tonight. Here, November 30th, sign up, get registered, and sign up for this fantastic slate of speakers. The very first one is going to be tonight from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And Richard Bushman is going to be speaking. I will, at the end card, I will actually have a link at the end of the video. So when the subscription thingy pops up, I'll have, if it lets me, I will post my interview with Richard Bushman about the plates is there. So let's go and close that out. And I also just want to say, for those of you who financially support the channel, I really couldn't do this without you. For those of you who are Patreons, I really want to do more with Patreon, and I apologize I haven't done more with that because it's just this channel is just exploding. But I want to do more stuff for my Patreons. I want to thank those who also just give me like one-time gifts on Venmo and on PayPal. We have links in the description if you'd like to help us out. It is greatly appreciated. We do have the merch store, MormonBookReviews.com. And I just really want to thank everybody about just the love and the support that I get. And it really does mean so much to be able to meet you. That really is the key thing. It's about the personal relationships that I have and meeting people in the flesh and giving them a hug, shaking their hand, looking them in the eyes, hearing their stories. Okay. This is so important to me. And I know, as I get out there more often, the meetups get larger and larger and more people show up. But really, honestly, I want to take the time to be able to talk to each and every one of you. And even if it's only for like 5 or 10 minutes, I apologize, but maybe I do sometimes do lunch with people. So if there are people out there who maybe want to do, take me out for lunch or dinner and have a conversation, I'm open to doing that. My schedule is still relatively open. So I'd be open to meeting with you one-on-one as well, if you're interested. I try to do this on a real tight budget. I'm really grateful that there are people that are helping support me getting out there. And I really am going to be excited about telling why I'm going there. The main purpose I'm going there, because originally 2-3 weeks ago, this is not in the cards. This was not being planned, but I think God opened up a door for me. And I did receive a blessing this weekend at a church service from an apostle to bless me on the trip. So I'm very excited about that. Just to be honored and privileged to receive a blessing from a apostle in the restoration. It is greatly appreciated. I'm going through my list, make sure I covered everything here. I believe that I have. So I'm excited. McKay Coppins, man, it's going to be great having you on. It's going to be great doing an interview with the Bushmans about their legacy. And folks, the people that I'm going to be interviewing in Utah, it's just going to be great. And it's really remarkable when you stop and think about it. I didn't know a Latter-day Saint, single Mormon, 2.5 years ago. Didn't know anybody. Nobody knew who I was. And to see how far we've come in 2.5 years is nothing short of remarkable, and I would say miraculous. Of course, I was an atheist for 12 years, and I totally respect the atheists who don't believe there's God or the supernatural. I get that too. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it except that God's hands on it. But I totally respect you if you don't think he had anything to do with it because there's no God. That's fine too, because I love you either way, because I believe that we are all image bearers and I love each and every one of you. And I also want to respect you from where you guys come from. Dr. Randy Bell said that Mormon Book Reviews is the Switzerland of Mormonism, and it really has become that. And I'm really looking forward to. So anybody who haven't had a chance to meet me yet, those of you who have been to meetups, please come back. I love seeing repeated people coming. Chances are you'll see a lot of meet some really interesting people, a real mix of different people like we similarly had here in Florida. It's just great to be able to bring people from all different groups of the restoration. Some people who are also evangelicals and atheists and faithful people and ex-Mormons, and all come together. It can be done, folks. It can be done in this time of strife and all this. It really can be done. And I want to so now I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop. I want to hear your comments in the description. What do you think about me coming out? You say, Steve, we're so sick of you already. We don't want to get out there anymore. I don't know. But and by the way, I hope to get out. This will be my 3rd trip to Utah this year. I hope to get out there more frequently next year. So if I can't see you during this trip, I definitely want to see you during one of my next trips. Again, that's what it's all about, meeting you all. So don't forget, we do have links in the description for everything I just discussed. I do appreciate everybody who's financially supporting the channel. And remember, this is the most important thing, is this. All the voices of the restoration will be heard here on Mormon Book Reviews.